Okay, today our class is going to have you learn how to do the value section of our poster. And as you see my value section here, value is all about lightness and darkness of a color or a shape. So the background is going to be a smooth transition from dark of a color from one corner all the way to white in the other corner, and then we're going to actually work separately on a piece of paper that's already cut out for you as a circle, and we're going to make this circle shape, which is flat, appear three-dimensional, which a three-dimensional circle is called a sphere, and we're going to shade that sphere darker in the section that's away from the light, and lighter, it's going to slowly fade lighter by the other side where the light is hitting it directly to create the illusion that that is circular, that it looks three-dimensional, even though it's a flat piece of paper. Okay, then we're going to, once we do all the coloring, then we'll label our poster so we remember highlight is the part where the light hits directly. It's the lightest value, and shadow is where the light is the most hidden away. It's the darkest value, and on a flat piece we're going to practice our coloring skills to be able to make a value gradient, which is a smooth change from light to dark or dark to light, either in a color or in a shadow, like if you're drawing a pencil drawing, for example. You will shade darker and make shadows and highlights for areas to make an image appear three-dimensional, even though it's on a flat drawing paper or surface. Okay, so that's what value is all about. And we're going to do this section right next to our texture section on our poster. So you want to be able to fold your paper so you've got it comfortably in front of you. And we'll start out with my example. The first thing that you're going to do is you're going to find the center on the border, because that's where we're going to write the element value. So put a little dot, and remember you're not pressing hard with your pencil. The word value has 5 letters, so the middle letter is L. So you always start with the letter L, or the middle letter of the word. Keep the height of all your letters the same top and bottom height, and keep the space in between all of your letters exactly the same, so that by the time you're done, your word is really centered and it looks well crafted in your poster. Okay? Once you've completed that, the next step is to take a fine tip Sharpie marker and carefully just trace over your pencil lines so that your value section has its border label. Okay? Once you're done with that, the next step, and we'll put this poster off to the side for a little bit, we're going to take a circle piece of paper that I've already provided for you, and we're going to use shading techniques with colored pencil to be able to make that circle appear, sorry about that, I'm trying to adjust to see it better, appear three-dimensional. So what we're going to do is one side of the circle is going to be colored in darker, and then slowly by the other side it's going to just fade to just the white of the paper. Okay? The best way to do that whenever you're coloring to make a nice, smooth, even colored pencil, you always hold your pencil as far to the end and make the pencil as horizontal to the table as possible, almost like it's going to lay down on the table. That way you can't press too hard while you're coloring, and that's kind of a common mistake that students have, is that they color too hard right away. You want to think of coloring in colored pencil as putting layers over layers in different directions. So lightly coloring in, I'm just coloring in one direction across the whole surface, and as I'm going towards the light side, I'm just lifting as I'm coloring. I'm lifting the pencil up a little bit so it fades a little bit. Now I'm going to turn my circle and I'm going to still color, but overlapping and making the color as even as possible. As I'm working towards this side, I can press a tiny bit harder. As I'm going towards this side, I'm lightening up the pressure so the pencil doesn't show. It just looks like it fades to pure white. Okay? A gradient is also considered when like one color fades into another color. That would also be considered a gradient. When one color fades into another color, it's a gradient. This is a value gradient because it's one color that's starting out darker and it's slowly fading lighter towards the other side. And every time I change the direction of my coloring, I rotate my paper so that it's making a nice even color. And I can control how dark or how light that orange is getting. Now I'm to the point where I've got a nice transition here. I just have to make it show up more a little darker. So I'll just take my time. I'm pressing lighter as I'm coloring towards the side. I'm pressing harder with more pressure as I go towards the shadow side. And I'm just going to slowly make the shadow side darker and keep my color looking like it's slowly getting lighter. If you press too hard and color too hard too fast, what you'll have are steps in your color pencil that you got to blend out. So it just takes a little bit more time to adjust your coloring. By doing it slowly as layers overlapping, you can control how that color lays down on your paper a lot better. And I think I'm pretty close to being done with my transition. So now as you look at this circle shape, it should appear to your eye to look more spherical or more like a ball that you're looking at rather than a flat circle. Shapes are always flat. Value makes flat shapes appear three-dimensional or appear as forms, they call it. That's another element that we'll be covering in the next week or two. Okay, so that's how you do the sphere. Now, once you're done with the sphere, set that to the side. You're going to pick another colored pencil and you're going to pick a corner on your poster to start from. So say I want to start from this corner. I'm going to do the exact same thing that I did for my circle. I'm going to color in one direction and color the whole surface, not pressing too hard. And slowly as I work towards the light end, just lift my pencil as I'm covering as I do that. Make sure you stay within the lines and color all one direction until you fill the whole thing. And then we'll rotate the paper and overlap our layers to build the color up and control it within the shape. So by the time I get to like a quarter from the other corner, I should be kind of making it pure white. Now I'm going to rotate my paper and I'll start down here and I'll stay nice and clean. I'm lifting my pencil as I get towards the light end, pressing a little harder as I get towards the dark end slowly. And I'll slowly work the color. I'm not going to do the whole thing, but I'll show you this section, how I'll kind of slowly make it darker that just fades gradually to lighter by the other end. Now I'm rotating my paper and I'm pressing a little harder in that corner and I'm pressing lighter till I'm barely touching the paper by the time it gets to the other end. And I think you get the idea. You don't want to see the directions that you're coloring. That's why you rotate your paper and overlap with more of a medium pressure to build the color up slowly. If you press too hard, all you're going to see is the pencil lines, and it'll be distracting from the value, which is what we're trying to show as our element of art. Okay, there's just a section of it. I can probably even color this end a little darker, but you get the idea. What you want is to have a really, really nice dark value at one end that slowly gets lighter by the other end to pure white. Okay, and that's basically finishing up the value section. Once you have the coloring in the background done, you're going to match up the light end of your sphere with the light end, with the light side of your triangle background. Glue your sphere down, and then you're going to label the highlight, which is the white area, the shadow area, which is the dark area of your sphere, and put in the definition for gradient, which is equals a smooth change from light to dark or dark to light. And that'll do it for this section of our poster. Good luck.